Want to speak real Spanish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at SpanishPod101.com.
Hola, soy Brenda Romaniello, tu profesora de español. Hello, my name is Brenda Romaniello and I'm your Spanish teacher. Hoy vamos a ver los pronombres de interrogación. Today we're going to have a look at the WH questions in Spanish. So, we say and we call them WH questions in English because most of these questions will start with a WH in English, so the translation will be with a WH question. But that is certainly not the case, of course, in Spanish. So what they are called is actually pronombres de interrogación, and we use them to ask questions in Spanish. So let's put your knowledge to the test a little bit as well, and let's see if you know what these questions mean in Spanish. And then if you don't know, I'll teach you and then I'll give you some examples as well. Número 1. ¿Qué? 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 ¿Qué significa? It means what. Por ejemplo, ¿qué prefieres comer hoy? What do you prefer to eat today? Número 2. ¿Cuándo? ¿Cuándo? ¿Cuándo significa when, and we use it to talk about time. Por ejemplo, ¿cuándo vuelves de tus vacaciones? When are you coming back from your holidays? Número 3. ¿Dónde? ¿Dónde significa where, and we use it to talk about a location. Por ejemplo, ¿dónde vives? Where do you live? Número 4. ¿Cómo? ¿Cómo? ¿Cómo significa how? Por ejemplo, ¿cómo prefieres tu carne? How do you like your steak cooked? Número 5. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué significa why? Por ejemplo, ¿por qué estudias español? Why do you study Spanish? Número 6. ¿Cuál and cuáles? ¿Cuál and cuáles significa which? But hang on a second, we have two questions here. So, can you tell me what the difference between cuál and cuáles is? Do you know why we have two options for which in Spanish? The answer to this question is because it's going to depend on the number. So if we're talking about only one thing, we're going to say cuál. So cuál is for the singular, and cuáles will be the plural form when we talk about two or more things. Por ejemplo, ¿cuál es tu casa? Which one is your house? ¿Cuáles son tus documentos? Which are your documents? Número 7. ¿Quién and quiénes? So again, here we're going to have two options, and it means they mean in English who. So again, why do you think we have two options here, quién and quiénes? Exactly the same as cuál and cuáles. Quién is going to be used to refer to one person, and quiénes is the plural form, and we're going to use it for two people or more. Por ejemplo, ¿quién es tu mejor amigo? Who is your best friend? ¿Quiénes son tus hermanas? Who are your sisters? Número 8. And the last one. ¿Cuánto, cuánta, cuántos, cuántas? ¿Cuánto and cuántas significa how much? And we are going to use these two options with uncountable nouns, so things that we cannot count or measure. And also we have two options for how much, because cuánto is going to be used, we're going to match it with a masculino, sustantivo masculino. So we're going to match it with an uncountable noun that has to be masculino. And cuánta will be the femenino form. Por ejemplo, ¿cuánto dinero hay? How much money is there? So dinero is masculino, we have to say cuánto. ¿Cuánta azúcar quieres en el café? How much sugar would you like in your coffee? So azúcar es femenino y vamos a decir cuánta. So we're going to say cuánta for azúcar because it's femenino. Cuántos, cuántas significa how many, and we use these two options with countable nouns, so things that we can count. And again, we're going to differentiate cuántos for nouns that are masculino and cuántas for femenino. ¿Cuántos limones necesitas? How many lemons do you need? ¿Cuántas naranjas necesitas? How many oranges do you need? Muy bien, so that is the lesson for today. I really hope that you liked it and you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And I will be seeing you next class. Nos vemos la próxima clase. Adiós.
Hola, soy Romina Romagnolo, tu profesora de español. Hello, I'm Romina Romagnolo, your Spanish teacher. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of the most important and frequently used verbs in Spanish, el verbo querer, the verb querer. When you start learning Spanish, you're going to notice that we use the verb querer all the time. And you might be wondering, what does querer mean? ¿Qué significa querer en español? What does it mean? Querer is often translated as like I like you or I want you, and then it can also mean like I want or I wish. So depending on what are you talking about, this verb is going to be translated into English as either I want or I wish. So let's start talking about wishes. I'll give you an example, un ejemplo. Yo quiero tener una casa grande. I want to have a big house. Please repeat. Perdón. Yo quiero tener una casa grande. Yo quiero tener una casa grande. Yo quiero tener una casa grande. So in this case, it's pretty obvious that I'm talking about wishes, okay? So in this case, you're going to be translating the verb quiero as I wish to have. Okay, let's now focus in the verb querer as in to want, okay? If you are at a cafe, you can order a café with the verb querer. Quiero un café, por favor. Quiero un café, por favor. Quiero un café, por favor. So here we are just saying, I would like or I want a coffee, please. Now that we know the meaning of the verb querer, let's focus on its conjugation. Please repeat after me. Por favor, repite después de mí. Yo quiero. Tú quieres. Usted quiere. Él quiere. Nosotros queremos. Vosotros queréis. Ustedes quieren. Ellos quieren. Yo quiero. Tú quieres. Usted quiere. Él quiere. Nosotros queremos. Vosotros queréis. Ustedes quieren. Ellos quieren. If you've been paying attention, you probably noticed that the infinitive form of the verb, which is querer, changes a little bit throughout the conjugation, okay? And if you notice that, congratulations, well spot. And the reason why this verb changes, it's because it's an irregular verb. Es un verbo irregular. The type of irregularity this verb has is located in the first section of the verb, which we call raíz, which means root or stem, right? So basically what happens is that the vowel e changes to ie, okay? E becomes ie, okay? In certain people making the actions, okay? So it will be yo quiero, tú quieres, él quiere, ustedes quieren, ellos quieren, okay? It's not correct to say yo quiero, you have to say yo quiero because it's an irregular verb. But it becomes a regular verb again when you're using nosotros or vosotros. More often than not, we are using the verb querer next to another verb, okay? As I was saying before, yo quiero tener. Tener is another verb. I'm saying in Spanish, I want to have. To have is an infinitive verb, is another verb as well. So basically what you have to do in Spanish is you need to conjugate the verb querer, okay? Yo quiero, tú quieres, as we were doing the conjugation before. And the verb that is located after querer, you just have to keep it as it is in the infinitive form. So, for example, it's not correct, yo quiero tengo. That's wrong, okay? What you have to say is, yo quiero tener, tú quieres tener, él quiere tener. So as you can see, querer is changing, it's being conjugated, while tener is remaining exactly the same across all these people. I'll give you a very useful example. Yo quiero hablar español perfectamente. Yo quiero hablar español perfectamente. Yo quiero hablar español perfectamente. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me in a new video. I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson. As usual, if you have any questions, you can leave me a comment down below. Also, take the comments as an opportunity for you to practice Spanish and maybe write a sentence with the verb querer and then another verb, okay? Just a full sentence in Spanish. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much for watching today's video y nos vemos en la próxima clase. And I will see you in our next class. Adiós!
Hi guys, I'm Courtney, and today I'm here in Teotihuacan, which is about an hour's drive from Mexico City. As you might know, Mexico is very well known for having various pyramids, ancient temples, and ruins all throughout the country. Today, we're here to explore one of the biggest pyramids in the world. Let's go check it out.
Located about 50 kilometers northeast of modern-day Mexico City, Teotihuacan was one of the largest urban centers in the ancient world, and to this day, no one knows who built it. The Aztecs arrived on the Mexican Central Plateau during the first half of the 14th century. As they were coming from the north, they discovered the abandoned ruins of this city. They connected it to their own beliefs and gave it the name Teotihuacan, meaning birthplace of the gods.
Right now, we're walking through La Calzada de los Muertos, which is Spanish for Avenue of the Dead, and it was the main road for this ancient city.
This massive central road is roughly 40 meters wide and runs for more than 4 kilometers. It's surrounded by impressive ceremonial architecture, as well as platforms that the Aztecs believed to be tombs, therefore inspiring the name Calzada de los Muertos.
Throughout this entire avenue, you'll come across a series of steps that are both high and steep. It's pretty difficult and challenging, so I would recommend bringing comfortable walking shoes and clothing. So through all these up and down stairs, I think I found a shortcut and I'm gonna take it.
Mexican folklore says the Pyramid of the Moon and the Pyramid of the Sun were built in honor to the birth of the sun and moon gods. To honor the gods, priests were said to perform daily ceremonies at the pyramids.
After a bit of walking, we arrived to this intersection where both temples connect through the Avenue of the Dead. Behind me, you'll see the Pyramid of the Sun, and to my right, the Pyramid of the Moon. Right now, we're gonna try to make it to the top of the Pyramid of the Sun. So let's go.
Less than half a mile south of the Pyramid of the Moon is the Pyramid of the Sun. It has a height more than 63 meters and a base more than 225 meters long on each side, making it the third largest pyramid in the world.
The Pyramid of the Sun has 248 total steps. Not only that, but they're also extremely tall and extremely steep, so it's very dangerous. But we finally made it.
Its elevated platforms were likely used for rituals. Tombs found associated with the structure contained both human and animal sacrifices, along with grave goods such as obsidian and greenstone. The location of the pyramid and its design are thought to represent the three levels of their cosmos: celestial, terrestrial, and subterranean. Throughout the main intersection on the Avenue of the Dead, you'll find many people selling you a series of different creative Aztec pieces such as carvings, sculptures, and jewelry. As you're leaving, you can also find a broader selection of more souvenirs and crafts related to Teotihuacan.
So that's it for today, guys. This was Teotihuacan, and I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time.
Hola, hola, ¿cómo están? Hello guys, how are you today? Hoy tenemos una clase sobre exclamaciones en español. Today we're gonna cover exclamations in Spanish. This is a pretty cool lesson because we are very expressive in Spanish and we are always shouting and you know, saying our comments or opinions about something or someone, and this is very, very useful if you're gonna be interacting in Spanish, okay? So pay attention. La clase de hoy es súper interesante y yo pienso también muy importante para interactuar con otras personas en español. Como sabes, en español solemos ser muy abiertos a la hora de expresar nuestra opinión y utilizamos mucho estas exclamaciones, no solamente para hablar de opiniones, sino también para halagar a otra persona, para decir algo bonito a otra persona. Y también para animar. So one thing to keep in mind about this exclamation that we're going to be learning today is that we don't just use these words to express our opinions, but also to flatter other people, to say something nice about someone else, and also to cheer them on. La primera expresión es bravo. Repite, por favor. Bravo. 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 I love when English speakers say this word. It sounds so cute. Bravo. Marvelous. Bravo. Just love it. But now you know how to say it correctly. It's bravo, not bravo. If you happen to live under a rock and you never heard this expression before, bravo means amazing, how wonderful, okay? So if you find yourself enjoying a theater play or a musical or, you know, a singer, and you want to praise their performance, at the end of the show, you can stand up, clap as much as you can and shout, ¡bravo! ¡Woo! ¡Bravo! Es muy probable que ya conozcas la expresión bravo. La utilizamos muchísimo en español para halagar la actuación o la performance de artistas. Por ejemplo, si ves una obra de teatro o si asistes a un concierto, al final de la actuación o del concierto, si quieres expresar lo mucho que te ha gustado el espectáculo, entonces te pones de pie, comienzas a aplaudir y gritas con toda la fuerza de tus pulmones. ¡Bravo! ¡Woo! ¡Bravo! ¡Olé! I love this one. ¡Olé! ¡Olé! And you have to do this with your hand, I don't know why. Esta es una expresión típica de España. Se popularizó mucho con el flamenco, pero también se utiliza mucho en el fútbol y en ambientes informales de España. Es una forma de animar a otra persona. This one is an expression that we use particularly in Spain. It's a typical Spanish expression from Spain, and it started with flamenco, and then it became popular, and I think nowadays you also can hear it in soccer or football, in the football environment, and also in informal environments as well. So basically you use olé to cheer someone, okay? When someone is doing something amazing, you're gonna say olé. Enhorabuena. Repite, por favor. Please repeat. Enhorabuena. 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 Bien. Enhorabuena se utiliza principalmente en España, pero también en Argentina, por ejemplo, y básicamente significa como, ¡hey, finalmente, qué bueno, felicitaciones! This is an expression that, again, is mostly used in Spain, but we use it as well in Argentina. Basically, it's like saying like, hey, finally, how amazing, congratulations. That's what enhorabuena means. Cuando hablamos de exclamaciones en español, no podemos dejar de mencionar la estructura que más adjetivo. When we're talking about exclamations in Spanish, we can't miss or skip the expression que plus adjective. It's very simple. Es muy fácil de utilizar. Let's say, for example, you're at a friend's house and you want to say that the house is very pretty, right? So all you have to do is translate the word pretty in Spanish, right? Which in this context is going to be linda, casa linda. So the adjective is linda. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to say que plus that adjective. Que linda. Vamos con otros ejemplos. qué fea, qué triste, qué amable, qué tonta, qué gracioso, qué cómico, qué malo. Okay, so we most of the time use these ones with an adjective, but you can also use it with a noun, okay? Let's say you want to say, oh, what a man. I don't know when you will want to say like, yeah, bueno. Qué hombre. Qué casa. Qué carro. Qué auto. Okay guys, I hope that you really enjoyed this lesson as much as I enjoy doing this for you. Please let me know on the comments down below if you have any questions, and I would also love for you to take this as an opportunity to practice Spanish and to write your own sentence down below. Bien, muchísimas gracias y nos vemos en la próxima clase. Adiós. Bye, see you next time.
Hola, soy Brenda Romagnello, tu profesora de español. Hoy vamos a hablar de mandatos en español. Vamos a hablar de qué tiempos verbales podemos usar en español para dar órdenes, básicamente. Today we're going to have a look at some commands in Spanish and what tenses we can use in Spanish to give orders, pretty much. Hoy vamos a ver tres tiempos verbales para hablar de mandatos y dar órdenes en español. Vamos a usar el presente, el presente simple, vamos a usar el modo imperativo y vamos a usar el condicional simple del indicativo. Entonces el presente y el condicional del indicativo, y vamos a ver el modo imperativo. There's three tenses that we can use in Spanish to talk about commands. And that is the present tense, the simple present in Spanish, the conditional, and also the imperative mood. Vamos a empezar con estos tres ejemplos y luego vamos a ver qué tiempo verbal usamos para cada uno y lo que significa. We're going to have a look at these examples to be able to compare and analyze them, and why and when would we use one or the other. Número 1. Hay que regar las plantas. The plants need to be watered. Número 2. Riega las plantas. Water the plants. Número 3. ¿Podrías regar las plantas? Could you water the plants? En el primer ejemplo estamos usando la estructura hay que está en el presente del indicativo, con el verbo haber, que es un verbo que usamos para hablar de existencia, pero que en este caso hay que significa hay una obligación y lo usamos de modo indirecto para dar una orden. In the first example, we use hay que, which is the structure, to talk about, to give an order in an indirect way. Okay, this must be done, meaning maybe you should go and do it. Are you gonna do it? Or, in English sometimes we say we need to water the plants. And whenever someone says that in English to me, I always go and say, we sounds like a lot of people, meaning I think you want me to go and water the plants, right? So, hay que is an indirect way to give orders in Spanish. En la número 2 vamos a usar el verbo en el modo imperativo. El modo imperativo es el modo de las órdenes y por supuesto es mucho más directo, es la forma más directa que tenemos para dar órdenes en español. In the second one, we are using the imperative mood, which is the mood in Spanish to give orders. So there's no question here, this is direct, it's a direct order. Y la número 3, podrías, en este caso, usando el condicional, también es una forma amable o indirecta de hacer un pedido, de hacer un mandato, de pedir una orden. And in the last example, we are using the conditional tense. And this one is an indirect way to ask or request or give an order, and at the same time is polite. So the best way I would say, if you don't know, especially the person that you're talking to, is to use the conditional tense to ask or for a command, or to ask for a request or a favor, or to give an order. But of course, if you know who you're talking to, you know your audience very well, you can use the imperative mood and it's not rude in that situation. Para el registro formal, sobre todo dando órdenes, vamos a usar la persona usted. Muy bien, usted es la persona, segunda persona del singular, y es de uso un registro formal. So whenever we want to give orders or commands in a formal way, we're going to use the personal pronoun usted, which is the second person and is the formal you, the formal register for you. Hay que completar el formulario. In this case, it could be used in a formal setting because there's no one performing the action here. It's an impersonal sentence, and we can use it in this case. Llene el formulario, por favor. And using the conditional, we're going to say, ¿podría llenar el formulario, por favor? Okay, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I really want to see you next class. Nos vemos. Adiós.
Want to speak real Spanish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at SpanishPod101.com.
¡Hey!
No manches, Diego, ni siquiera te rasuraste para el video, ya ni la chiflas porque es cantada.
Bueno, pues a mí tan siquiera me sale barba y bigote, ve. A ti ni siquiera un pelo.
Pasado de lanza.
El que se lleva se aguanta. Okay, guys, so do you understand what we said before? If not, in this video we're going to give you a guide to understand the Mexican humor, so enjoy it! The Mexican sense of humor is a very particular one, and sometimes the foreigners struggle with understanding the way we express our humor, so that's why in this video we're going to try to uncover it.
Wow. Now, the first example we have here is albures. Sometimes Mexican humor has double sense. We talk about something, but we are saying something on the other side. We play on words. Those words are always with a sexual context. We can give you some examples of that because this video is family friendly.
That's correct. However, if you're wondering an example of it, you can look for Chistes de Polo Polo, who is a Mexican comedian, or just albures.
Siempre me los hacían.
A todos. Another important thing of the Mexican humor is that we make fun of every possible situation, including the dead. Let's take, for example, the calaverita, where a calaverita essentially tells the death of a person who's still alive. For example,
Diego estaba en su casa, mientras la muerte lo esperaba, en la esquina de la parada, ansiosa por su llegada.
oh.
As Mexicans, we make fun of people, and it could be seen as bullying, but we don't do that with bad intentions. We use that as a manner of getting along with someone.
That's correct. So essentially, the more you love your friend, the more you will be a bully with him. Sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, but it is the perfect example of what we call cuchillito de palo, which means knife made of wood that doesn't cut but bothers a lot.
It bothers a lot. That's
For
correct.
example, Diego, estás bien feo.
Te estás más feo.
Eso no es lo que dice tu novia.
Mexicans are politically incorrect people. Why? Because we make fun of minorities such as black guys, Asian guys, or disabled people, poor people, or even gay people. Hey, but please don't take us too seriously. This is just part of our culture, and of course, our intention is not to offend people. No, so please take it with a grain of salt. Now, just a warning. We're going to give you an example of this. So if you are a bit sensitive with these topics, skip the next 40 seconds or so. Okay? So, the example.
You go first.
Oh, damn, yeah, you're right. Efraín, ¿y qué pasó con María? ¿Ya le hablaste?
No, me da mucha pena hablarle.
¿Por qué no seas joto? Háblale.
No, no es que sea joto, es que... ¿qué tal si me dice que no?
Eres bien joto.
¿Tú sigues yendo a tus clases de guitarra?
No, ya no puedo, no, trabajo todo el tiempo, estoy en la oficina, ya ves que trabajo como negro.
No, brother, ya deberías renunciar a eso.
Sí.
Ni siquiera te pagan tan bien.
Tienes toda la razón, me pagan como niño asiático en fábrica. Casi nada.
Everything has a sense of humor if you look for it. In the most tragic and saddest situations, Mexicans have the capability of finding the sense of humor of that situation. For example, we could find these images on the internet during and afterwards the earthquake.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not only for tragic situations, but I mean we make fun of many situations overall, from the saddest one to the most tragic one. Another example would be,
Diego, creo que se va a morir mi tía.
rayos, bueno, pero ve el lado bueno. Tu casa ya no olerá viejito ni cigarro.
Eres un desgraciado, Diego.
Another important thing in the Mexican humor is that we tend to use apodos for our group of friends. An apodo is basically a nickname. Therefore, in our group of friends, we always have a chaparro, a short person, or a flaco, a thin person, el gordo, fat person, el negro, the brown skin or black skinned person, and so on. So, for example, in my group of friends, I am el mamado, which is the strong person.
El que se lleva se aguanta. In Mexico, this is a very popular expression. It could be translated in English as if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And everything could be fun, everything could be laugh until someone make us pay back in kind. For example, Diego, estás bien feo.
Tú estás feo.
Eso no es lo que dice tu novia.
Bueno, pero por lo menos mi novia no me ha dejado por mi primo. ¡Ey! No, espera, regresa. Te llevas y no te aguantas.
Hey there, friends of SpanishPod101.com. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you liked this. Please write your comments down below and share it with other learners so we could reply to every comment that you have for us. Okay? Thank you and see you in the next one. Hasta luego. Bienvenidos, amigos de SpanishPod101.com. Hoy tenemos el Efras and Diego's
Comedy Show.
¡Uja! Y esta es tercera llamada.
Tercera llamada para el video de chistes mexicanos. ¡Comenzamos!
Laughing is a very important activity. It is even healthy for our body. And it makes the life more enjoyable. Right, Diego?
That's correct. So, Mexican jokes normally speak about 5 different topics. Number 1, about drunk people. Number 2, about an iconic character from Mexico who we call Pepito. Number 3, when we speak about other nationalities. Number 4, when we speak about the hell. And number 5, the classical jokes for children. Of course, there are many more topics, but these are very common ones. Now, mind you, some of these use double sense, and actually we play on words to convey something sexual. That's our humor. So, but this video is family friendly, so we're going to give you some jokes that are, and let's see if you can get them.
Yeah, let's start with the first joke. Come on. Woo! Okay, so clap your hands, babies. Pepito va con su mamá y le dice, mami, mami, ¿qué pasó, hijo? Ya no quiero jugar con mi primo al rompecabezas. ¿Por qué, hijo? Apenas va el primer martillazo y empieza a chillar. I love you, man.
Okay, so did you get the joke? So basically, a rompecabezas is a puzzle, but it's also we play with the words because romper is to break and cabeza is the head. So rompecabezas is, apart from puzzle, is to break your head. And of course, what happens when you hit someone with a hammer, you destroy, you break the head of another person. You see? Ok, ahora vamos con un chiste de nacionalidades. En Japón crearon una máquina que atrapaba ladrones y pues bueno, cuando la estrenaron, en menos de 30 minutos atrapó a 20 ladrones. Después la llevaron a Francia y en menos de 30 minutos atrapó a 40 ladrones. Después la llevaron a Italia y en menos de 30 minutos atrapó a 17 ladrones. Y en eso la llevan a México y en menos de 5 minutos se robaron la máquina.
Ok, oye. Ok, llega alguien y dice, negra, ¿bailamos? Y ella, no. ¿Pero por qué? 4 razones. Esto es un funeral. Usted está borracho. Número 3, el Ave María no se baila. Número 4, no soy negra, soy sacerdote. ¡Hombre! Thank you. Gracias, público.
Ok, espero que estén disfrutando la noche con nosotros y ahora vamos a continuar con unos chistes infantiles. El primero es que había un niño tan pequeñito que su cabeza le olía a pies.
Ay, qué bonito.
Está bonito. Ok, otro, ese estuvo muy corto. Ok, llega la hija con su papá y le dice,
Papá, ¿cómo se escribe campana?
campana se escribe como suena.
Entonces escribo talán, talán.
Ok.
Es tu turno ahora.
Bien. Ahora vamos a contar un chiste sobre el infierno. Una vez, un alemán se murió. Y al ir al infierno, llegó y vio que cada nación tenía un infierno diferente. Entonces fue con los alemanes y les preguntó, ¿qué les hacen aquí? Entonces uno de los alemanes le respondió, aquí los sientan en una silla eléctrica por 1 hora. La siguiente hora los acuestan en una cama de clavos. Y el resto del día viene el diablo y da latigazos. Psh. Entonces el alemán todo espantado va a otras naciones y pregunta qué les hacen. Y siempre obtiene la misma respuesta. Hasta que llegó al infierno de los mexicanos. Y ahí en el infierno de los mexicanos vio que había mucha gente, mucha. Entonces les preguntó, ¿aquí qué les hacen? El mexicano respondió lo mismo. Silla eléctrica por 1 hora, nos acuestan en una cama de clavos la siguiente hora y viene el diablo y nos da latigazos. Entonces el alemán, sorprendido, dice, entonces, ¿por qué hay tanta gente queriendo entrar? Y el mexicano responde, es que no hay luz. Y los clavos ya se los robaron todos. Además, el diablo solamente firma y se va. ¡Ríete!
Okay, that was a nice joke. Now, of course, maybe if you don't get it, it's because you don't have the cultural background. Now, let me explain why this is a very good joke. So, as Mexicans, we have the stereotype of, first of all, not paying for our bills, and this is true. Unfortunately, that's true. Most of the electricity bills are overdue for many families. Now we are seen as people who rob. That's not true at all. We are not robbers. Well, we are seen like that. And number three, we are also known, especially for office jobs, that we don't really work for 8 hours, but we work much less. As long as the boss is not there, we can just sign, firmar, and then leave. So as you can see, most of these jokes refer to something cultural. Therefore, that's why it is important for you to know a bit of the culture in Mexico. For ending this video, we want to give you a suggestion of four of our favorite comedians that are Mexicans. The first one that I truly love is Franco Escamilla.
Yeah, that is a good one. The second one could be Carlos Vallarta.
Oh yeah, exactly. Franco Escamilla and Carlos Vallarta are estandoperos, which is a practice that came from the States, the stand-up comedy show. Well, that's now very popular in Mexico. So these two are estandoperos. We call them like that. Another one that I truly love is Platanito Show. It's a really good comedian. He's actually a clown.
Y el último, el otro también te gusta. ¿Quién es?
Oh, sí, hay otro payaso que se llama Chuponcito. Es muy gracioso también. So, les recomiendo mucho ver algunos videos de estos comediantes y pues bueno.
Let's just take this advice. It is not available.
Well, you know, unfortunately, most of these comedians are not truly family friendly, but that's because that's our humor. You know, as we said at the beginning of this video, sometimes we speak like in double sense, so it's not suitable for children. No. So that's it for today, my friends from SpanishPod101.com. We hope that you have enjoyed this video. If so, please give us your thumbs up and share it with other learners. Also, if you have any other Mexican joke that you know or any joke, please share it with us. We want to read it. We will comment all your comments.
And please invite us to go and eat something.
Again.
They're joking. Hey there, friends of SpanishPod101.com. Once again, I'm Efraín.
And I'm Diego.
And today we're going to...
Hey, Efra, ¿qué estás comiendo?
¿Un tamarito? No, es solo para mí. No soy un codo, pero es que... Okay, do you know what we are trying to say? You're lucky because today we're checking Mexican gestures. So...
Enjoy the video. Woo! One of the most essential parts of every communication is the body language. So that's why it is important for you to know the Mexican gestures, because even if you have lived here for a long time, you may recognize some of them, but maybe you don't know how to use them properly. Some of these gestures are more used by men than by women, and if women use them, they are not really well seen. So the first one that we have is to convey yes, and it is one of the most popular gestures in Mexico, and that gesture is
sí. And this one comes from the most popular, or one of the most popular TV shows in Mexico. And it is the Chavo del Ocho. Ting 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 ting. The second gesture here is for saying that something is long way still. For example,
Efra, ¿qué tan larga está la fila de las tortillas? Or even, Efra, ¿qué tan lejos está Puebla de aquí? ¿Y Chihuahua?
Okay, you can add this on
With that sound. Okay, now We have two more gestures that are related to money. The first one is for asking how much is something. And you obviously use it when you cannot ask the price directly. For example, when you are in a tianguis or in a flea market, you just need to point the object, the article that you're interested in, and do this. Like, ¿cuánto? Now, if something you consider is very expensive, the gesture that you will use is, for example,
Hey Diego, ¿eso está caro?
vámonos. So it's like, yes, it is expensive, let's go.
Another gesture we have here is the one that you use when you are in a restaurant. So you raise your hand and then you call the waiter for the bill. It is like you write something here. We still don't know what we are writing about, but
Great, write something.
yeah, you write something.
Very good. So another one that is very common is for saying the person that is in front of you, hey, you are being miserly. For that in Mexico we have the word codo and we use this gesture. So, for example, Efraín, quiero unas palomitas. ¿Me las compras?
No.
Let's go.
Sí, ¿y qué?
The next one is just for saying let's go, and the gesture is very simple. You just do this. For example, when the class is finished and everyone wants to go, it's like, hey, vámonos, vámonos.
Okay. The next one here is when you want to say after or before. For example,
Hey, ya tengo hambre, vamos por los tacos ya ahorita.
no, después.
Después, ok, va, después de este video, perfecto.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the next one is for conveying that you are in serious problems. And for that, you just use with this sound. So, for example, Efra, the example.
Ah, sí.
Mi mamá te va a regañar, es su espejo favorito. Era su espejo favorito.
Okay, let's go to the next one, which is, okay. The next one here is when you want to have a drink and you use this one, especially and usually for alcoholic drinks. Hey Diego, vamos por una cerveza.
Claro, vamos. The next gesture could be used in two different ways. The first one is for indicating the other person that you want to split half the bill or any other expense. For that, you just point that person and it's like, hey, let's split half the bill. But you can use this same gesture just for telling the other person that you want a bit of that, something that he is eating. So, for example, Efraín está comiendo una rica manzana. Efraín.
No. ¿Y qué? So what? Okay, the next one here is when you ask another person if he has already eaten. For example, Diego, ¿ya comiste?
No, todavía no, pero podemos ir por unos taquitos.
Sí, and you can even use it for saying let's go eating. Vamos a comer.
Vamos a comer, yeah. Let's go eating. Yeah, so the next one is just for saying thank you. Now, sometimes this is bad thing for foreigners, but believe us, this is actually for us a sign of courtesy. So, for saying thank you, you will just say, or do this. For example,
Diego, ¿quieres un poco de esta rica manzana?
no, ya no, muchas gracias.
Pruébala.
No.
Okay, the next one is when you're incapable of doing something, or when you are afraid of something, or when you are just a coward. For example, Diego, vamos a esa casa embrujada.
No, me da miedo.
¿Sí?
Sí.
No seas cobarde.
No, sí.
Vamos.
Me da mucho miedo.
Bueno, a mí también me da cosa ir solo.
Te da cosa.
Sí. Okay, next one is when you want to say that some place is very crowded, or when something is a lot, when you have a lot of something. For example, Diego, no vayas al café del Moro este sábado porque hay un buen de gente.
Mucha gente, mucha gente. Or even you can say, Efra, ¿tienes mucho trabajo mañana?
Y tengo un montón, es un buen.
Very good. Okay, so the next one is a gesture for spanking, and this is usually for kids. When the mothers want their kids to behave well, they will be like, hey, pórtate bien, behave well, or nalgadas. I'm going to spank you.
So when you were a child, you would usually hear something like, hey, no hagas eso o te voy a dar.
Oh,
Huh?
yeah, very common.
Okay. The next one here, okay, listen carefully. You just use this one when you are with friends. Don't use it in public. And you use this when you want to go to the bathroom and the poop is,
Already there,
For example, Diego, ya necesito ir al baño, lo traigo así.
Like this. So okay, very good. Yeah, we're going to finish this video and
It happened to me.
1 hour ago. Okay, so the last one is this is a gesture for encouraging another one for doing something that you want to do. So, and the gesture is this. Now be careful because this originally means like, hey, you are being gay. But once again, this is not really offensive. This is just a way for encouraging the other one to do something that you want to do. So, for example, Efra, hoy tengo una fiesta. Vamos.
No. Ok, vamos. Esto es todo por hoy, amigos de SpanishPod101.com. Y bueno, esperamos vernos hasta la próxima. Muchas gracias por ver este video.
Y si vienen a México, no olviden llamarnos porque podemos ir a comer.
Juntos.
So, nos vemos en el siguiente video. Bye bye. Efraín, hace unos días Alondra me dedicó una canción muy bonita.
¿En serio?
Sí.
¿Cuál?
Se llama Vuelve. ¿La conoces?
Creo que no. A ver, cántala.
Dice: vuelve, que sin ti la vida se me va.
Ándale. Muy buena. De hecho, a mí me dedicaron una canción igual. Bueno, no igual, similar. Y es de Juanes. Se llama Volverte a ver.
Ah, ¿sí? Creo que la conozco. ¿Cómo
sí.
va?
Volverte a ver es todo lo que quiero hacer. Volverte a ver para poderme reponer.
Ah,
Yeah.
Bien. Good. As you may have noticed, we use the verb volver in both of our songs. However, the song that I sang, the meaning is a bit different than the song that Efrain sang. So in this video, we're going to clarify this verb. So, enjoy it!
The verb volver is commonly translated as to return or to come back to or to go back to. But this meaning is not enough to cover this verb properly. Because it has a broad range of meanings.
That's correct. As Efrain said, this verb could be translated as to go back to or to come back to. As in the example, extraño Cancún, quiero volver a la playa. Mind you that we can change the verb volver a for regresar. So I can also say extraño Cancún, quiero regresar a la playa. Then the expression volver a needs to be followed by a place if you want to convey to go back to or to come back to. However, we can also use an expression of time to convey the same. For example, tengo que irme pronto, pero no te preocupes, volveré a las 5 de la tarde. Another way for saying this is tengo que irme pronto, pero no te preocupes, regresaré a las 5 de la tarde. So in this case, volver a and regresar have the same meaning, and this means to go back to or to come back.
Now, let's take a look at the sentence quiero volverte a ver. In this case, it doesn't have too much chance when we translated it as to come back to, or to go back to, or to return. Quiero volverte a ver, in this case, means I want to see you again. Therefore, volver could also be translated as again when combined with a verb.
That's correct. So remember the structure, volver a plus an infinitive verb means again. Now, just as a side note, we have 4 other ways to express again in Spanish, but we're not going to cover that in this video. For that, we're going to make another one. So remember to turn on the channel notifications so you can be the first to watch when the new video is released.
So far, the verb volver has been really easy, right? But let's take a look at this sentence. Diego, la próxima semana me vuelvo a inscribir a la escuela.
Ah, qué bueno.
Sí.
So he's saying, me vuelvo a inscribir a la escuela. Did you notice the use of the reflexive version of volver? That is, volverse. When do we need to use the reflexive verb of volver and when we need to use the non-reflexive version? Honestly, in Spanish, this is not really logical, but as a general rule, we're going to use the reflexive version of volver when the verb that he's using doesn't need a direct object. In this case, he's saying inscribir. Inscribir doesn't need a direct object. That's why he's saying me vuelvo a inscribir a la escuela. Not just vuelvo a inscribir a la escuela. No. Now, so to be sure that you got this, we're going to give you 2 more examples. Number 1.
Mi tío José se volvió a desmayar.
He is using the verb desmayar, to faint. This is a verb that doesn't need a direct object. That's why he can use the reflexive version. Mi tío José se volvió a desmayar. It would be strange to say, mi tío José volvió a desmayar. No, you need to use the reflexive pronoun there. Number 2.
Ayer volví a ver la película Jumanji.
Muy buena película. Okay, so the verb that he's using is ver. And ver needs a direct object. The direct object in this example is la película Jumanji. That's why he can't use the reflexive version. He's just saying volví a ver la película Jumanji. It will be really strange to say me volví a ver la película Jumanji. No, that even sounds awful.
The verb volver can take the reflexive pronoun, as we saw previously. But it can also take the direct pronoun and the indirect pronoun. Now, let's see some examples. Hey,
Oye.
si te comes otro dulce, te vuelvo a pegar.
Ok, está bien. Tranquilo. In that case, he's using the verb pegar. The verb pegar needs a direct object. So, te is not a reflexive pronoun. It is rather a direct pronoun. Te meaning me. To me. Te vuelvo a pegar. I will hit you again. Now, let's take a look at one example of an indirect pronoun.
No le vuelvo a contar nada a mi prima.
¿Qué pasó?
Les dice a todos mi secreto. O sea, yo no tengo la culpa de haber contraído piojos.
¿Qué?
Nada.
¿Tienes piojos? ¿Qué rayos? Okay, he's saying, le vuelvo a contar nada a mi prima. The verb contar can take a direct object but also an indirect object. The direct object could be un secreto o algo. And the indirect object is a mi prima. So that's why he can say no le, meaning la prima, the indirect object, le vuelvo a contar nada. Pretty easy.
Finally, we can also use the verb volverse in its reflexive form, and we can translate it as to become.
What?
Yeah! Let's see one example. Diego, una vez que entras a la universidad, tener vida social se vuelve más complicado.
Once you get into college, having social life becomes more difficult. That's definitely true. So now that you have the verb volver under your belt, we're going to give you some examples so you can test your knowledge.
Number 1. I don't want to go back home yet.
No quiero volver a la casa todavía, o no quiero regresar a la casa todavía.
Number 2. I'll see you again in 1 month.
Te volveré a ver en un mes.
Number 3. I cleaned my car yesterday and it is dirty again.
Ayer limpié mi coche y hoy se volvió a ensuciar.
Number 4. My relationship with Samantha became boring.
Mi relación con Samantha se volvió aburrida.
Okay, that's it for today. We hope that you learned a lot in this video, and please give us your thumbs up if you like it and share it with other learners. Write your comments down below, we will reply to them, okay? And see you in the next video.
Bye. Hey.
No manches, Diego, ni siquiera te rasuraste para el video, ya ni la chiflas porque es cantada.
Bueno, pues a mí tan siquiera me sale barba y bigote, ve. A ti ni siquiera un pelo.
Ah, pasado de lanza.
El que se lleva se aguanta. Okay, guys, so do you understand what we said before? If not, in this video we're going to give you a guide to understand the Mexican humor, so enjoy it! The Mexican sense of humor is a very particular one, and sometimes the foreigners struggle with understanding the way we express our humor, so that's why in this video we're going to try to uncover it.
Wow. Now, the first example we have here is albures. Sometimes Mexican humor has double sense. We talk about something, but we are saying something on the other side. We play on words. Those words are always with a sexual context. We can give you some examples of that because this video is family friendly.
That's correct. However, if you're wondering an example of it, you can look for Chistes de Polo Polo, who is a Mexican comedian, or just albures.
Siempre me los hacían.
A todos. Another important thing of the Mexican humor is that we make fun of every possible situation, including the dead. Let's take, for example, the calaverita, where a calaverita essentially tells the death of a person who's still alive. For example,
Diego estaba en su casa, mientras la muerte lo esperaba, en la esquina de la parada, ansiosa por su llegada.
oh.
As Mexicans, we make fun of people, and it could be seen as bullying, but we don't do that with bad intentions. We use that as a manner of getting along with someone.
That's correct. So essentially, the more you love your friend, the more you will be a bully with him. Sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, but it is the perfect example of what we call cuchillito de palo, which means knife made of wood that doesn't cut but bothers a lot.
It bothers a lot. That's correct.
For example, Diego, estás bien feo.
Te estás más feo.
Eso no es lo que dice tu novia.
Mexicans are politically incorrect people. Why? Because we make fun of minorities such as black guys, Asian guys, or disabled people, poor people, or even gay people. Hey, but please don't take us too seriously. This is just part of our culture, and of course, our intention is not to offend people. No, so please take it with a grain of salt. Now, just a warning. We're going to give you an example of this. So if you are a bit sensitive with these topics, skip the next 40 seconds or so. Okay? So, the example.
You go first.
Oh, damn. Yeah, you're right. Efraín, ¿y qué pasó con María? ¿Ya le hablaste?
No, me da mucha pena hablarle.
¿Por qué no seas joto? Háblale.
No, no es que sea joto, es que... ¿qué tal si me dice que no?
Eres bien joto.
¿Tú sigues yendo a tus clases de guitarra?
No, ya no puedo, no, trabajo todo el tiempo, estoy en la oficina, ya ves que trabajo como negro.
No, brother, ya deberías renunciar a eso.
Sí.
Ni siquiera te pagan tan bien.
Tienes toda la razón, me pagan como niño asiático en fábrica. Casi nada.
Everything has a sense of humor if you look for it. In the most tragic and saddest situations, Mexicans have the capability of finding the sense of humor of that situation. For example, we could find these images on the internet during and afterwards the earthquake.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not only for tragic situations, but I mean we make fun of many situations overall, from the saddest one to the most tragic one. Another example would be,
Diego, creo que se va a morir mi tía.
rayos, bueno, pero ve el lado bueno. Tu casa ya no olerá viejito ni cigarro.
Eres un desgraciado, Diego.
Another important thing in the Mexican humor is that we tend to use apodos for our group of friends. An apodo is basically a nickname. Therefore, in our group of friends, we always have a chaparro, a short person, or a flaco, a thin person, el gordo, fat person, el negro, the brown skin or black skin person, and so on. So, for example, in my group of friends, I am el mamado, which is the strong person.
El que se lleva se aguanta. In Mexico, this is a very popular expression. It could be translated in English as if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. And everything could be fun, everything could be loud, until someone make us pay back in kind. For example, Diego, estás bien feo.
Tú estás feo.
Eso no es lo que dice tu novia.
Bueno, pero por lo menos mi novia no me ha dejado por mi primo. ¡Ey! No, espera, regresa. Te llevas y no te aguantas.
Hey there, friends of SpanishPod101.com. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you liked this. Please write your comments down below and share it with other learners so we could reply to every comment that you have for us. Okay? Thank you and see you in the next one. Hasta luego!
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.